Hello everybody, Kurt Holverter here, and this is going to be a quick video here in regards to some of the terms of Fiore, Liberi, in his manuscript as far as body, footwork, turns of the sword, and turns of the foot. I've had several people that come from learning the German traditions that have come to me and said, hey, look, is there a way that we have a glossary on this? And aside having the book right there readily available, I completely understand where we hear a term and we want to have a reference point. So the purpose of this video is not to go into great detail in regards to what each one is and to teach how to do it, but just to give the term and to give the association of what the physical action is for you to be able to build on that. So regardless of that, that's what we're going to get into today, and look forward to sharing. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about here is reference points to the body, and which is your right side, your left side, and so on and so forth. We're also going to talk a little bit of reference points on the sword. So first things first here, the right side of the body, so anything that's coming from the right side is known as the mandrito. This is any type of action or movement or passing wise. Mandrito side is your right side. I have it right here so you can kind of divide yourself in two. And on the left side, that is known as the reverso. According to the sword, one of the things that I understand is that if I'm striking forward with a true edge cut, like such, that this is a cut from the mandrito side. He does not utilize any type of thing as true or false, as far as true, but he does reference that on a backhand portion, where I'm using the back portion of the sword, that he does call that a falso. So left side of the body is the reverso, right side of the body is the mandrito, and if I'm striking with the true edge, it is throwing a mandrito cut. If I'm striking with a false edge on the backside, it is a falso. Next thing we're going to talk about is footwork. He has four things he talks about with footwork, and all it is as far as extension and retraction. He does not use terms as far as advancing or retreating, but more along the lines of just how our legs move. So advancing, the terms he has for this is the accrescere and the deaccrescere. Accrescere is to extend, deaccrescere is to retract. So as a basic concept right here, we get into our stance, and accrescere is just extension, and then I deaccrescere by bringing my leg back up. So again, I go backwards with an accrescere because I extend my leg structure here. So my legs are extended, much like a compass on like doing a map is considered. So I accrescere by bringing my leg back, and then deaccrescere by bringing my leg forward here to meet back into that structure. The next area that we have here is the passare and the tonare. So in this case right here, we've only shown how we are utilizing our legs, we're not crossing over. The passare is whenever the rear leg of the structure comes over in front of the middle plane of the leg that's forward, right? In reverse of that, the tonare, the returning step, is whenever you pass the rear leg. So a passare is when the rear leg crosses over the plane of the front foot, and a tonare, a return, is when the front foot passes over the lead foot. The next area is called the turns. And there are three turns of the foot and three turns of the sword that we'll be explaining in greater detail later on. But just to understand here, if we have a picture idea, volta stabile is whenever we have ourselves stabilized up, we're in our position, and we're able to turn utilizing pivoting off of our foot to play forward and backwards with our feet. Our feet aren't moving here, but they are oscillating back and forth. Or I can move back and forth with this into play forward, backward directions. The mezzovolta, the half turn, is where we're able to play from one side to the other. So this is if I'm on one side, I'm going to the other side. This goes forward and backwards. One side to the other side. That's just the basic term of that. The tutta is I kind of see this almost like as a basketball concept where you're sitting there and you can pivot in all directions. So you have all direction 360 movement here. Of course, it's not necessarily as far as playing basketball. This might be more for other kind of combat techniques that we're going to talk about later on. But the tutta volta, the mezzovolta, and the volta stabile are the turns of the body, i.e. the foot and your structure. Volta stabile, the stable turn, where my feet don't necessarily move, but they stay in place so I can play forward and back. The mezzovolta, where I'm able to turn and play on both sides, which is the half turn. And then the tutta volta, the total turn, where I am one foot stays here and one foot stays in place, and the other foot goes around in a circle around the body, the total turn. The turns of the sword, he does not go into great description. All he says is that the sword also has 3 turns as well, which is the tuta volta, the mezza volta, and the volta stabile. For the purposes of how I teach, my interpretation of this is we're talking about the isolation of the sword based off its point of balance. So the point of balance moves in right here, and how we choose to manipulate that has a lot to do with wrist. So for demonstrational purposes, a volta stabile cut or movement of the sword is where the sword is not necessarily, you can see it's rotating and turning here. It's moving partially. But with that being the case, it is staying here where it's straying forward and back here. So it's not really changing, and that's really going down to the wrist. So my wrist is staying straight and maybe oscillating back and forth here, but I'm not bending it over one another. The mezza volta is where we, once again, the half turn. And I see that as more like we're doing a half turn right here. This allows for the sword to come where I break it to come upwards here. So now I've come this way, I'm striking with that false edge, I'm coming down with the true edge. So I kind of do this sweeping motion here. This mechanic of breaking the wrist is the mezza volta. The tuta volta is again that total turn, and I see this as a rotational piece of the entirety of the wrist. So just like we said before, I'm playing on one side of the sword, forward and back. Whether this right here doesn't matter. The mezza volta allows me to break, come down, break, come back up. The tuta volta is where I can come here and circle through again. It's a full rotation of the wrist, which allows me to do massive rotations rather than coming down, breaking, and then coming up to other upper considerations. The last section we're going to talk about here is the 7 blows. And again, these are all just terminology here to help out. And that is, 7 blows is we have the colpo fendente, your cleaving strikes which come from above. And these blows are made from the teeth to the knees. From high to low. And you'll see images within the Getty, the Pisani Dossi, etc., where they show the teeth of the sword coming through high to low. The next one is the colpo the sultani, which is your blows from below. So colpo fendente, blows from above, your cleaving cuts. The colpo sultani are blows from below. Fiore specifically talks about these coming from being in a low guard position or a lower position. They come up, they stop at the eyes, and they may stay there or they come right back down. But they follow the same line as the fendente, but they come here and they come right back down. The sultani don't go right back up again. So here, this motion right here, by me coming up, keeping that same line as the fendente, and then stopping at the eyes is the colpo sultani. And it goes once again on both sides. Here, stay this way, or here, come right back down. The next area is the mizani, which is your horizontal cuts. A little bit different than the Germans. So instead of having a thumb grip coming across, it is a true edge cut. This is not a baseball swing. This is me trying to reach out and strike through, utilizing the true edge from my mandrino side, the right side, and then utilizing the falso, the false edge, from my rovescio, my left side. This strike made me go through the neck all the way down to the knees, and it works horizontally athwart to a striking point. That's not my interpretation. That is the interpretation I saw from a manuscript where it's talking about going athwart as far as counter-directional. The last one is the punta, and the punta is therefore being the thrust. The thrust is anywhere from the nose, to the eyes, to the groin of an opponent. There are 5 thrusts that Fiore talks to us about. We have 2 that are upper, 2 that are lower, and 1 that is center. That being along the case right here, however that works, we're talking about moving to the center of the body on an opponent. Thank you everyone for tuning in here. Again, my name is Kurt Holfreder. And this is just a general description of terms that may be, when we hear them laying around in other classes stuff, whether online or if you are in person with me, these are just ways for us to be able to understand the lingo of what we're going to be training for in this practice of exploring Fiore di Liberi. Please leave a comment or a question in any of the comments below. Welcome any types of questions as far as exploration. And I'm hoping to check with you. I'm hoping to train with you all here very soon. I have a personal goal. I want to be to be at 100 subscribers by the end of the year, just to start off with, as far as a personal goal in this regards to this channel and what I plan on putting out with for people as far as instruction is concerned. So if you like this, please share. Please share it with your friends, family, or whatever they may be interested in regards to into looking at Fiore de Liberi as a practitioner in the Western martial arts. So thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Train well and fight on.